If you've been wanting to know how to program lasers in SoundSwitch, well, you are on the right video. We're going to go over that today, as well as some best tips and tricks. Hey everybody, how's it going? Daryl here, welcome to the channel. Many people ask me, how do you program lasers in SoundSwitch? Because they can be notoriously tricky. And programming lasers in DMX in general is a little bit tricky. There's an easier way to do it. They make dedicated programs to work with lasers. But if you're already using like SoundSwitch or whatever DMX program already, it might just make sense to incorporate this type of lighting fixture with the rest of your other ones. So in today's demo, I'm going to be using the 6-watt Sheds Consta laser. I made a full review of this laser in a different video. I'll have a link in the description below. And in that video, I'll go over some of like the safety and regulations that we have in the US of A. I'll link that same documentation down below. Also in this demo, I'm using a little bit of haze from my trusty American DJ haze machine. A little goes a long way. I don't recommend using lasers unless you can use a haze machine. In this video, I'm assuming that you know the basics of SoundSwitch. So we'll do a quick review, but if you need a bigger refresher, I have some pretty good basics tutorial videos and I'll link those down below. SoundSwitch as a program is pretty nice because it lets you abstract a lot of the details needed to program your lights, such as like color, intensity or brightness, movement, positions for like moving head fixtures, into this nice graphical interface so you don't have to manually manipulate the values between 0 and 255. A lot of fixtures have extra functionality and you program that in using attribute cues. And lasers are an attribute cue intensive lighting fixture. The color, the intensity, and the strobe can come from the tracks like this. You have to program everything else with attribute cues, and there's even some lasers that you have to program the color and the intensity with attribute cues. And not all lasers are implemented the same, but just know that if you have a different laser, some of these steps might be slightly different. And there's a lot of different manufacturers out there, and if you don't see a particular manufacturer, your laser still might be in the program. You can just scroll into all these laser implementations, and chances are that your particular laser has a matching profile. Just look at the number of channels, and if you're not sure, you can go into the SoundSwitch fixture manager and you can look at the exact channels being used and compare this with your manual, and if this looks correct, then you know you have the right profile, even though the manufacturer name might be slightly different. So to demonstrate today how to program this laser in SoundSwitch, I'm going to be using a static scene, but the workflow is identical for setting an attribute cue, and you just drag and drop those on your timeline. So this particular laser, you can control the color and the intensity from here. So this takes the information from SoundSwitch. So I'm going to choose a random color. Let's do purple. And note that this is not like a linear scale of intensity. It's either 0 it off or 100%. There's no in between. There's no dimming. And also note this particular laser, I can use SoundSwitch to make it strobe. I'm going to change the color to teal because why not? And then you have all of these attributes to control a bunch of different other parameters. And like I said, if you have a different laser, your experience may vary, but a lot of the same principles apply. So for this particular laser, so while you do control like the color, it has this color macro, and depending on the color you select, it will manipulate it. So this first attribute, it'll be like a teal. It's whatever color you program in. But it has a particular mode where it chooses colors, like it chooses the colors that make it up. So green and blue and teal, so you can see those colors within this pattern. And then this other parameter down below lets you animate it. So it's doing a little color chase right there. And then you can keep playing with the values of the color macro, and it does different things. Like right now it's still breaking up those colors into teal and green, but it's into small sections, smaller sections still. I think that's 16 sections, and then yet another pattern using those colors. And if you do a different color like purple, we'd expect it to do chases with blue, red, and purple. See? And then if you do white, it'll be rainbow, all the colors. And then same, just playing around with these macros. So your laser will have different color macros built in, but you just have to play with it and see what you get. this is fine. We're just going to keep this. And then most lasers I've programmed have something called like patterns or cues. Most lasers I've programmed can do like different patterns, different animations, like a butterfly or somebody sitting down. And so they're like these different banks, and then you can choose a pattern from that bank. So this particular laser is just called Q and Q groups. So as you can see, I choose the different groups and the pattern changes behind me. And then if I change the Q, it does something completely different. So we'll just keep it like this for now, but just note there's a bunch of different patterns depending on the group you're using. And yeah, I recommend using shapes and lines and stuff. And you can just find one that you like. I'm going to change that color macro just for variety's sake. There we go. I like that. I'm going to slow that down as well just for fun. So we'll do this. And if you were trying to like scan this above people's heads, which is what I highly recommend, and is the law in the US, choosing patterns and shapes like this is a good idea. So we chose a pattern. Actually, I'm going to choose a different pattern for my demo today. I'm just going to try something that's more of a straight line. I'm going to choose a different Q group as well. There we go. I like that. Okay. I'm going to change. So I just changed the Q and Q group for a straight line because this will make the manipulation a little bit more clear. Lighting dances when there is motion. And so right now, as you can see, the colors are kind of doing a chase. This is motion. This is kind of like a smooth style of motion. So let's just make it back to one color. So each of these patterns that you choose can be manipulated to be a different size or to add some sort of motion. So right now, like this pattern is pretty static, and you can create different attribute cues to simulate motion. Like you could have one attribute cue be like this, and then another one have it be up above, and then switching between those two attribute cues simulates motion. But there's a lot of parameters that will let you change the size, the distortion, the location of this projection, and there's some that simulate motion as well. So the zoom will let you do it from wide to narrow. So you could have like an attribute cue that is at 0 and then one at 255. So that's some sort of motion. Or they have this pattern called auto zoom. Depending on the value you provide, changes the speed. And just note that your laser might be different. It might have different names. So set that back to 0. There's rotate. So that if you want to position it just right, you can. And there's also an auto rotate function. You don't want to scan the crowd. There's like an X rotate. Since it's a line, rotating a line doesn't do anything, but a Y rotate does something. That's actually kind of cool. Well, that was comically fast. There we go. It's a little bit better. There's an X move. Some lasers have like an X move where it like does a motion, but this one does not. And then there's a Y move. So if you're trying to have this higher so it doesn't scan people's eyes, it's a good idea to use that. In fact, for this video, the framing, it looks better right there, so I'm just going to keep it right there. Twist effect, that can be pretty cool. It's kind of like a smooth wave, and I think that's really cool for like the intro of an EDM song. And notice that the pattern is being broken up at that top. It's because we have this Y move, so if we set that back to 0, it won't be broken up. Okay, put that back to 0. And then this is something that I think is awesome for SoundSwitch, especially if you're trying to have it like pulsate with like your pars. SoundSwitch is very big into pulsing. It's this draw mode. So as you can see, like the lower values just kind of display a partial drawing of the pattern that we selected. But up here, it slowly draws it. This is almost like the flash fade intensity. You can make it faster. And of course, this is like very hard to make it align with the music. You can't really do that dynamically based on the song you're playing. So if you're trying to script a complicated song, you might just have to time it and see like what 128 beats per minute or whatever the tempo of your song is so that this matches it. So this is like one of the patterns for my laser. So same pattern from the other side. So the follow through pattern, the bounce pattern, which is kind of like one of those smooth waves. So yeah, you can play with it. And then most lasers come in with built-in macros, which I tend to try to avoid because they're not as predictable or controllable. Like all of these parameters that we just set, like the rate, the rotate, the zoom, the move, the position, those are just kind of all thrown out the window. I was actually listening to our color macro. That's actually kind of cool. Some of my other lasers don't do that, but then you can control the speed with this parameter. But yeah, these macro cues are just not quite as controllable. And your laser is going to vary, so you just got to play with the built-in macros and see if there's any that you like. I'm going to reset that. And that's basically it. That's how you program your lasers in SoundSwitch. Let me just play an auto loop. So there you go. There's a laser pattern. Also, something else to note is that if your laser gets its intensity from an attribute queue, this blackout button isn't going to turn it off. So you might want to create a static look laser blackout, and then it just turns off your laser. In fact, in this project, some of the lasers they use attribute queues to control the intensity, so it is necessary to have a laser blackout button. Voila. Well, folks, there you have it. That is how you program lasers in SoundSwitch. You just have to play with those parameters and see how your laser works in SoundSwitch. Hopefully you found this helpful. Let me know if you have any questions down below. And don't forget to smash like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.